Hello and welcome back to Bump Love. Today's show is powered by Airtel Smart Plans. Airtel Smart Plans allows you to share data with up to 5 people. Airtel, a reason to imagine. Welcome back to Bump Love, ladies. Welcome back to Bump Love, ladies. And to you, our Bump lovers, if you are new here especially, please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel, especially if you're interested in content regarding motherhood, parenthood, and anything to do with navigating life as a woman. Yeah. So as our children grow, it is important for us to adjust our parenting strategies to match our growing children's needs. I mean, you can't speak to a 5-year-old the same way you would speak to your 15-year-old. And imagine today's topic. We speak about communicating better with our teenagers.
Yeah.
Hot topic. Hot topic.
Yeah.
We are now in murky waters.
Yeah.
Teenage children. Yes. So I want us to dial back so that we can be able to empathize with the topic even better. What kind of teenager were you? And how did that influence your relationship with your parents?
I was a very compliant teenager.
Oh.
No surprises there.
No surprises at all.
I have a good relationship with authority.
Almost great.
Almost great, yeah, because I just don't like conflict, and I don't like conflict, especially with authority. So I'm a rules follower. I always wanted to do the right thing. That didn't mean I was not cheeky. I was, but like within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah. I don't know if it helped that I grew up in that church. I think that kind of contributed. And then of course my parents were like church ministers. My dad is a pastor, and so we sort of had this spotlight on the family. But I guess personality-wise, I'm very calm, cool, collected. I don't want trouble. So if they say A is A, A is A. It is not A and a half, it's not B, it's not C, it is A. Yeah. So I was a very compliant teenager, and of course, I had a very good relationship with my parents. My mom especially, because she's the one who was sort of more involved with like the actual murky parenting. Dad only came when there was like an escalation, you know. So I had a very good relationship with mom, and I feel like she was very gentle and yet firm in her parenting, which allowed us to thrive. My siblings and I allowed us to thrive, allowed us to be who we were, and I guess grow in our individuality without feeling like we're being muffled or stifled. Yes. So the safety of the environment didn't allow, although for most pastors' kids it's not the case.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There is a narrative that's
about
to
pastors'
children.
Yes.
To behave a particular way.
A particular way, yes, but it's also known that pastors' children usually go against what their parents are preaching, which didn't quite happen. But that fortunately, yes, it didn't mean that there was no exploration to some degree. Yeah, like I remember even when I was in secondary school, there are things I did that went against my Christian values, but they were still safe. It was like, oh, let me listen to this secular music.
She has gone against.
She's a rebel. That was my idea of rebelling. But other than that, we really were all mostly compliant.
So I've always shared on the show that I'm that. So you know, like for you, how A is A. Mine is A, A1, A2, like there are so many derivatives from the A, like even when I'm following the instruction. In that when you find me at A5, you're a bit
Confused. Like I was still in A.
okay, but like, okay, so we're in A, I get it. But how did we get here? Like, well, there's something wrong with this A. Or I'll just completely do B, but because I'm such an A, you'd always be like, someone must have... They must have forced her. What went wrong? Who influenced her? And so that was a kind of child. That was the kind of teenager I was. But I also feel that when it came to my relationship with my mom, she was going through so much at that time. And over being a teenager, I wanted to be there for my mom through her trying period. I saw what she was going through, for example, paying our school fees. Kissing a boy, how? How? I had no time to be disturbed by boys. she has no money. These things of, I hear you are found, I don't know, gallivanting.
You've escaped from home.
You've escaped from home. You
To
where? How? Where do I pass with what money to walk up to how far? I didn't even have the clothes to allow me to be allowed in the club, for example,
Yes.
where I should have done some wrong things. So I just feel that life could not allow me the opportunity to do wrong as a teenager. And I feel like sometimes, like when I'm in my quiet time with God, I'm like, Mommy, you really did save me. Like, you know how people say, He saved me. And I'm like, yeah, He really did save me. Like, it's like, this one,
was saved.
I see her. And if it will help, it will assist me if I save her very quickly.
Now.
So there, she has no opportunity to do wrong. So the only time that I went off was that time that when my mom, when I'd got into a relationship with a PK, and as pastor's kid, and for me it was okay. Like I was 16 at that time, and the relationship was it was not even, I don't even want to say it was a relationship, but of course for me it was. Like I felt like, oh my God, I'm in love. He's my boyfriend and he said he would marry me. And then also I had arrived because he was a pastor's kid. As in, but like our dates would be like reading the Bible. Like our dates would be like holding hands with each other. Like when we go to the beach, I'm the one who's that, like you know, church used to have those things where like all the teenagers would go to like the beach. Of course I am the one walking with the pastor's kid, who obviously been so I was like, I really, that was the relationship. And then when my mom found out, my mom went to talk to the pastors, then they were like, no, you leave them to handle it, because also he was older than me. So they couldn't meddle. But then I was younger, like I was 16 and maybe he was like what? 21? No, maybe 20. He was on campus. 20, maybe like 20, something like that. 20, like 20. Was it a credo snatching now? Anyway, I don't know. But did she ever? No. She did not. Yeah, but meanwhile, and for us, what was the relationship? In her mind, the relationship meant I was pregnant, we were taking
0 to 100.
There was like 0 to 100. And yet we were there talking to each other about the Bible and walking with each other on the beach. Then we were feeling like we have really arrived. So that's when we had a really big fight with my mom. And that was the only time she saw me go against her. We weren't talking for a while, and a very long while, because then we broke up. One day I'll tell the whole story. When we should do a show like that about our exes.
It's coming.
We have children with them now. There's evidence. We don't have children. Otherwise,
so that was.
Now, for you, your one moment with your mother. I lived it from the age of 12 to 24.
Oh wow, that was quite long.
Yeah. Getting worse by the years. I was a typical textbook theory teenage daughter. You know, there's teenage son, and there's teenage daughter to their mother. Textbook theory. It was such a tumultuous time that even I didn't understand what was happening in my head half the time. You see that A that for you, you know there's A. You know there is A1, A2, A3. For me, I only wanted to know where A was so that I could find out where is X. Okay. That's where I want to be.
I don't want to be where A is.
I only wanted to find out where A was to avoid A. And my mom and I were at loggerheads. I did everything but the worst things. Because again, like I think most of our parents, what our parents were really worried about was the worst things. I'll tell you guys, I escaped from both school and home. I lied throughout. I became a professional liar because the raffle between me and my mom excited me at levels. Sometimes I knew there was where overboard was. So now I had to lie. When I saw her, this one they may take me either to, you know, my mama, I recognize those capabilities of locking me up in a police station. I was like, I don't want to end up in police, but I want to annoy her enough.
Oh dear.
Enough.
To get close to
Just before she reaches that point of sending me to police.
Wow.
And I was not doing it because I wanted my mom to be mad. I was doing it because she made me mad. Because she did not, I thought I was a grown up. So I wanted to do my own things at 12. I was really an adult at 12 years old. Can you imagine? Did they know me? I could make my own decisions. I had no breast, dear.
You did?
I'm a little blue man. I had nothing. But here in the head, I was sure I was an 18-year-old. I had to get my own way. And you see, the thing is that now, like, because me and my dad, our relationship even grew more. Because he was as if allowing me to be. And again, I was manipulating that love and that allowance. Yeah. And he just was able to, like, close his eyes.
Yeah.
But my mother was always no, no, no. Everything was no. And that no used to annoy me to my core. So much so that I reached points where I would ask, you know, and the type of friend I made when we were in school was always out. So now I had to derive ways to go for coaching so that they can give me money that I did not take for coaching, and instead went to the cinema, maybe, DV8. We used to hang out with my friends, with my peers. But let me tell you something. What I know and me, my level of badness was, I was not drinking. But I was exposed to it. In the places we used to go, they used to sell alcohol, they sell booze. So my friends used to, but I never used to drink. I didn't engage in any use of any substances. I didn't engage in drugs. I didn't do weed. I think the thing that we did the most was, I didn't have sex until I was of age. I had sex on campus. But my friends were engaging in sexual activities. But I didn't. So for me, I was always saying, what's wrong with my mother? I'm not even doing any of those things. I just want vibes. I just want to be free. Like, release me. Like, I would now reach points. Actually, I think I tried to do the best in my academics during my teen years, because I knew that's what she wanted. So I thought, when I do this for her, she'll give me. Did she give me anything? I said no. So even if I did my best, I also did my worst. Because I'm like, okay, now let me not even do anything. Because you're not even recognizing. So our relationship was like that from the age of 18 to the age of 24.
I wanted to ask Pumla, like, so you know how you're saying that me, I was in this group where I did not, but my friends did. I can imagine their moms. Like, were they releasing them? Were they not releasing them?
You would be impressed that those moms even were not stressing.
So that's where my problem was. That the mothers, I had to ride on the mothers of those children to give us maybe a lift to go. They're the ones who used to take us. Them, they were not escaping. I'm the one who used to escape. For them, their parents used to, like, give liberty to go. And when I said they were, not all of them, I used to hang out with a very good, close-knit group of friends that was we were grounded, we were all kind of raised the same way. But in there, maybe if we were 6, there were 2 who were doing those other things. And it was not us. And even those 2, we were not that close to them. They were around, they were there. Okay, maybe I remember one was really on the extreme of the other side, but we were very close. But us who were grounded in the way our parents raised us, we were not going to all those extremes to do anything. But otherwise, my teen years were the most tumultuous years of my entire existence. I fought with authority from the beginning to the end.
Dare I say that maybe that authority, to a certain extent, leveled you, like you couldn't reach there. You knew, they were like, I won't engage in sex.
It was just grounding. I had been raised from the age of 0 years to 12 years. So my foundation was firm. But my mother, as an anxious parent, was not secure. And I was not helping her to be secure. Because her son had gone and he was fine. The girl who comes right after me was a rules follower. So she was secure in them, but never in me. Because I was just not helping the matters. And I think she was just so worried about the consequences. And let me tell you about the teenage years. I shudder about the teenage years, because if I could relate, the problem here is that one day the president is going to appoint me in a high political office. Then a hater is going to send a clip of 10 years ago from Bamplav where Governor Pumla Nabatwa confessed that she escaped from somewhere. But for me, I don't mind, because now see me now.
See you
because,
now.
I always knew that at that time that I was that was not who I was. That was who I was in the moment. And I was just fighting to be free. But there are things that I did, you guys, when I used to escape from my father's house, open, and there would be boys there with cars, and for them they used to drive very early. And we would go to the disco. And I would come back at 5 a.m. before anybody woke up.
Oh, wow.
And remember, because they are not allowed to hear an engine, they would park far.
Yeah, then you run down
Now
there.
I'm running. Imagine a 15, 16-year-old girl there in the darkness at 4 a.m. coming back home. Do you know what can happen to you? And there used to be thieves. There were thieves around.
That's the time they leave.
And that's the time they so anything could have happened to me. And because we are all teenagers, don't think those boys are there waiting for me to be safe. We had no mobile phones. Now for them, they are going. They have left. Now I enter my bed stealthily. One time even my father called me outside and I had to pretend I was sleepwalking. I slept there in the grass. Because I used to sleepwalk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a habit, but I had outgrown it.
Yeah.
So now I brought it back. I found my dad was leaving much earlier. So I just let, and because I would change in the car.
Yeah.
So I'm back in my pajamas in the car. Yes. I threw the bag at the neighbors, went on the side, and I slept. And then we even had to go, and they took me to a doctor the next day. Yeah. And I was like, I think sometimes it comes back. And even the psychologist said, the doctor said, yeah, they outgrow it, but it can reappear times as if asthma. And I was there like, what? But can't I be even a danger to myself? What if I pick a knife?
I hurt myself.
Yeah, so for me, I was a typical teenager that I would never wish on any mother. Not because I was doing the worst, but because I took too many risks that we could have ended badly. Could have gone really bad.
That's true. In my case, you know, when you're a teen mom, people tend to think that you are a bad child. You know, when you have your child early out of wedlock, they assume that you are a bad child. My nickname was Klumpert, which is basically Kalidalu, but in a sweet way, yes. Meaning I was always cheeky. The only difference I'd see is, I think often I thank God that I was born into the family that I was born into, because you see all the communication and things we speak about today, we did that 30, 40 years ago, where we would sit and discuss. And because of that, when I did end up in the situation that I did, my first thought was, go home and tell your parents. Not run or whatever, because I knew either way, it's not like they hold me to this high pedestal. I was always getting into trouble. Not in a bad way. I never jumped fences or anything, but just rebelling small. So I was like, okay, well, let me just add this one to it. But one thing I was sure of is my parents love me. Whichever way. They'll be angry, mommy is going to shout, daddy will look at me with a disappointed eye, but I knew they will understand. So for me, yes, those years were difficult in terms of physical. Like, I was a late bloomer. My boobs came when I was 14 September. Now I was going to 15 is when. So those things that other people don't see, I'd be like, for me, I don't have. So you start hanging out more with the boys so that you try to fill that gap. But as a teenager, I was not compliant. I never looked for any lines. I just did, because in our family, it was okay just to be you.
I was a teenager that was kind of full of surprises. You can't be sure now.
Even up to now.
You can't be sure. So as both, sweet and cantankerous. So I remember many times I would be, follow rules, and then where I just snaps and I do something out of the blue that everyone is shocked I've done. So, of course, the first time was when I went to, it was day club, but then I came back very late in the night because I love adventure. So, of course, I started loving adventure at a young age. So, teenage age, I wanted to be anywhere but home. I'd always want to go and be with my friends. I would want to be at church. I want to be, you know, anywhere else but not home. Like, I'm so done with you. You raised me. That 10 years were enough. Now let me be chilling with other people. Now I have new friends. I don't need you. So I don't remember being so close, but then we didn't have a difficult relationship with my mom. Like, she would still be there. We didn't fight much, but she was sure this one, there are surprises coming. And I remember that the most of the mostest, I was doing my senior 6. When a child is supposed to concentrate the most is when I woke up, switched off the lights in the night. They looked for people who were doing a scandal. I had to do my exams coming from home because of that stunt that was done. So they, at first, in fact, I commuted. And my dad was furious. You know, he has to go to work, and then now for your exam, you have to drive her. I remember my mom coming, and my brother had just been born. He was a baby. So she would come along with him. He was a little, they were really stressed. You could tell they were stressed.
You got
Oh yes, I did. So I was full of surprises. You can't be sure as that kind of, But I knew that my parents were there. I always knew they would have my back. For some reason, I'm not there thinking, okay, this is it. Okay, I'll go to police. No. But as a bit
this girl really was a surprise. Oh, but I guess for us, the friends, we didn't know that very much. So there was a time this girl took us on a boat cruise. So we had never been on a boat cruise. And then she took us. And then it wasn't even, like, so the boat cruise was people's party. But I don't know how we ended up on their party. We didn't know the birthday girl, but there we were. Then you'd go on a boat cruise and then go off the island, go onto the island. Now, they told us that we could come back with a boat. Cruise it forward. Let's also go on the island. So now we go on the island. Didn't we wait for the boat until 1 a.m.? Guys, the boat they are coming. What does it work? People are worried, people are shaking. Still dancing, still enjoying. So she really was full of surprises.
I also got expelled a month to my S6 exams. So I had to commute for my S6. I led a strike. I was that teenager. I led a strike. So, but that time, and when the head teacher called me and said, "You're leaving the school," Panang, I wanted to pee. I was like, "Shit, what am I going to do?" My mother came and told me, "Don't worry. Let's go home." I was doing math, economics, and geography. Our exams were the first for 4 days. My mother took me to school for every exam, waited for me the whole day, checked on me, affirmed me from the beginning in the morning, next exam in the afternoon, affirmed me again after our conversation coming home. How did it go? My mother went to the schools, got books, got everything. Now we are going to read. I studied together with my mother. Wow. And she was also an academic. My mother became my teacher. My mom didn't even tell me. Like at that point where I was sure
you bonded.
Rain is going to come on me. Nothing. We didn't, and we've never even spoken about that incident again.
By the way, I'm also shocked that at that point,
my mother became, she was like, "Madam." And then in retrospect, she said, "Pumla, those were your final exams."
I know.
Those were your what?
Those were your final exams. That was the decider for the rest of your life. Why would anyone chase a child from school to power the rest of their lives? So she said, I had to take on that responsibility. That's love.
That's love. I also remember my mom staying all through. She could actually sit under a tree with my baby brother and wait, and then take me home.
I know.
When we're waiting for you. I like that we've shared honest versions of who we were before, not who we are now. So may this not come back to bite us for anything. Our career paths should not be hindered by by who we were in our past. So I'm sure you've noticed that we have a new face on the show. So to my left is Miss Hope Nankunda. She's an adolescent counselor. She's going to take us through some of the navigation of communicating with our teenage children. But before that, you were a teenager once as well, right? What kind of teenager were you?
Oh yeah, listening to all of you and what you went through and your growing ups. I grew up in a family where it was like like a home which is not your home. So you must follow the rules. Like if you're out of here, you are finished. So I had to keep that at the back of my mind. If I do anything wrong, I'm going to miss out on my education. I'm going to be chased to go back to the village because I had already lost my father. My mother wasn't there to take care of me. So I had to make sure I follow all the rules. All the rules. And I think to some extent it catches up with me now because I want my daughters to actually
Experience.
do the same thing that I did, and they don't seem to understand me. Yeah,
Oh, you have teenagers, you said?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I have an 18-year-old, 15, and 12.
Oh my God.
So I'm in the middle of it, but it's exciting to have them girls. Yeah, my mother. Yes. And she was sharing, I was like, oh my God, I need to check my parenting. Because you see, sometimes as a parent, you think you're doing the best for your child, like you're trying to protect as much as you can, but then listening to her, I'm like, okay, some of these things are even done intentionally. I need to annoy her a little more. This is not annoying enough. And I'm like, okay, I think there is work to do with parenting. And of course, for those that are listening to us, it's a challenge. How do you deal with all this? Because all these experiences are happening today in our homes, with our own children, with those that we are raising that are not even ours. How do we deal with this? So that is my experience as a teenager. And
So what is, I don't know what happens, like when they've been taught adolescence, 12 years old, it's like a flip, like there's a switch. The other day, I don't know if you guys remember when we were doing our season starter, and you know, we usually come together, and she came with Teja. Now, Teja before was like the engaging child, like, hello, auntie. But now, when he came, we all felt a different aura. We're like, what just
don't talk to me.
I just don't talk. He didn't want to be with the kids. He wants to be on his own. Like, even the walk immediately changed. You're like, I remember this, but how did it happen? It's like someone just came and switched on adolescence, and you're like, wow. So, what are the common causes of conflict between parents and teenagers during this time?
I think the most common one comes with the changes that comes to an individual. You know, first of all, as they grow, they are looking forward to that season. I'm going to reach this stage. I'm going to be independent. I will do what I want. My parents are supposed to listen to me because now I'm an adolescent. Leave alone saying that an adult is at 18 years, but becoming an adolescent, they feel it's this special season when I'm supposed to be listened to. I'm supposed to bring my ideas to the table, and you are expected as a parent to listen to me because we are supposed to reason. And sometimes parents are not prepared for that. A parent is always a parent. You're looking at this child, you think this is it's a child throughout. Even when they are 20, it's your child. Even when they are 30, it's your child. But these children at that age, they have a lot of excitement. And then it gets worse when it comes to peer pressure. Because remember, they spend more time at school than they do at home. So how they relate at school, the kind of groups they have, the kind of friends they have, the kind of stories they share, they shape who they should be when they come back for holiday. And as a result, we have had a challenge where most parents are like, oh my God, holiday is coming, what do I do? You're even scared to receive your own children at home.
These monsters, the monsters are coming. Ring the bell, the monsters are coming, the monsters are coming.
I have parents who call me and the holiday is here, hope the kids are here. What do we do? Because to them they feel like, how do you remain sober, remain a real parent, especially when the child doesn't seem to understand or even to listen. They're not ready for the way you are treating them when they were below 10. And remember, the other time it would be adolescents at 13.
Now it's earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, at 9 the girl has the boobs, they have come out and she's looking at you like, and
We both wear bras.
yeah. Yeah, so the cause of conflict normally comes in when they have to compare. Also, they compare. What do the other children have in their home? You know, like she said, the other parents were not questioning the friends. They would not ask for permission, but they would be there. And now you're here saying, okay, I think the other family is better than mine.
Exactly.
True.
At my home, I must say, oh, mommy, can I go to the supermarkets? And the other people, they just woke up and go. And that's it. So all those cause a lot of tension and conflict. And sometimes it's important that parents realize this kind of change, and then they come to terms with the change in the environment. Now that is where the challenge is, because most of the parents don't want to actually to believe that this child is at another level, and that they need to be looked at with a different lens. You think you're waiting for 16, but this child is doing it at 12. And when we don't pay attention to those details, that's when we have many of the young girls and boys getting wild, getting into drugs, having issues of mental health, because they have friends that they meet. Right now, you must know that we have a team of students who meet at Acacia. They leave home in a different way. If you meet her at Acacia and you had met her in Jinda Kami, the two are not even, you don't know, you can't tell. And these are children. These are our children. So the question would be, how do we help? How do we cope? How do we deal with this? Because it's in our face. And it's our duty to actually get back to the drawing board as parents, as caregivers, and relax a bit. And try to reason with the children. What conversations have you had with the children? So that they reach, by the time they get to 12, they know what makes a good person. How does a good person behave? If I'm going to a school and this friend of mine is going to lead a strike, what makes me know that actually striking is wrong? So that comes in right from the start. So that by the time they get to school and there are these peer pressure issues, you'll get friends who will tell you, no, if you pass here and you jump the fence, they won't get you. So this is the way to go. And then you have the other friend who is saying, by the way, you know, you can actually search for this. If you want to be a doctor, you can start by doing this and this and this. So you talk to your children about how to identify a person who is going to lead them to the right way. And because when you reach school, there are all types. And these times we even have international schools. So you have the other types from Sudan, from Congo, and Burundi. So what saves your child? What saves your child is what you have given her right from the start. That she'll still look back. I always tell parents, what is that one thing that your child will remember when she's about to do wrong? Yes. What is that? Because I always said, don't send your children to school just because it's time to go to school. Get them down, give them some messages, talk to them. So that when things are about to go wrong at school, what is that one statement that this child will say, how will mommy hear this? I can't be part of this. So sometimes parents, yes, they have the money, they have bought everything, they have provided all and given millions in terms of pocket money, but there is no word that your child can remember that you told them. And all you did was give enough money. And before you know, yes, the money has been given, but the results are really, really bad. You're looking for a rehabilitation center because when your child go to school, started misusing what you have provided in a wrong way. So it still comes back from home and what you have prepared your child to grow up to be.
And that's actually where that voice of reason, much as I did the mostest, I never ever crossed the line, because that voice of reason that was imparted in me from the age of 0 to 12 kept bringing me back. Kept bringing me back.
And
had
there been dialogue between your mom, between you and your mom?
Imagine.
A lot of the most
Imagine. Yes.
It could have been avoided.
Scripture says, train up a child in the way they should go.
And
Yep.
when they grow up, they won't depart.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All
Yeah.
truth.
Hope, can we talk about mobile phone use? I think that's we can't run away from. And there's both good and bad on the internet. Again, you can use the internet for education purposes, to grow yourself, but there are also vices that we are trying to keep our children away from. How do we empower them to choose right from wrong?
Yeah, that's a good one, especially today and after lockdown, because most of the gadgets came in with a Zoom and holiday work. Today everyone's saying, how do I get holiday work? Please get me a smartphone. Yeah, and then when you try to reason, you're like, okay, others are receiving. It's only my child who has not received. So even the schools have taken advantage. Like, oh, this is where we have reached. So you either speed up and reach us, or you stay there with your child. But for me, I think what we need to do is to, before we give the smartphones, can we educate our children? What is found there? Because I think what we lack is education and information. For us, we think the phones, okay, you'll call your child, where are you, or you send the work, or you attend a meeting. But I think we have not invested a lot of time in teaching these children the wrong that is found online. And we have these spaces now where children know, if daddy doesn't want to give me data, I know where to find it. I'll go to this restaurant, it is free. They know, they already know where to go and find Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi. So you think by not giving them data, you are actually doing your part. Kumbe, they are all
up to an open.
the whole world, you know. And what do they do when they get this free Wi-Fi? Because you know we have cyber bullying that is still affecting us, the older people. Imagine
How
children.
about them? Yeah.
You know. Yeah, a lot of pornography. You know, you must know that also. I think when we talk about pornography, I always tell young people, including my own daughters, never allow anyone that you don't know to tell you, now extend your dress, take that photo, now send, now touch here, and send the photo. Every parent needs to talk to their children.
We need to talk.
Because you don't know when that video is going to be used against you. And that's why you've had a number of suicide cases among young people, because they are blackmailed and they can't come to start telling daddy, you know, this happened now, the man is saying this. So you choose to find the best way out of this whole thing. And suicide cases have gone up. And of course, not forgetting the issue of pornography. Now the real one. The real one.
That one.
Because other men can send things to young children.
They do.
Hey!
Sad.
You know, as you said that, and I remembered how, you know, pornographic sites were blocked in Uganda, but they are still the most highly visited sites in Uganda. We're like, how is this possible that they blocked sites for the whole country? They are still the most searched.
Isn't that human nature? Refuse me something and I will find a way.
It's so sad. You know, I've been co-parenting my younger brother with my parents. He's now 20, but from the age of about 10 towards his teenage age, he's been living with me, mostly in holiday. And I've been watching closely the teenage behavior. And it's tough. It's tough raising a teenager, or, you know, raising a teenager is tough. And I remember, mostly for the girls, it's really sad, because exactly what you talked about. At his school, there's a girl that released a video, and she was doing some not very good things. Of course, a boy must have said, do this for me and share.
And
And it went viral.
They tell them, if you want data,
Yeah.
Send this, I'll
yeah,
send
send
you.
me the video.
Can you imagine?
And yeah, he had the video.
Yeah.
I looked at this girl's video
But
and
now
I
the
was
parents
just
let us
sad.
do smart plans, Airtel smart plans.
Yeah, this is
Because
you sell yourself for data.
when they Airtel,
This girl went suicidal. It gets that bad because the world has seen her nakedness. She doesn't know where to start from.
Yeah.
So
Everyone
it's
is
really,
looking at
really
it.
sad.
Things are
It is
happening.
sad, it is happening, and it is in our homes.
Yes.
And it even gets worse when communication is really, really bad in a home. Because you see, if there is open communication with the teenagers, that girl will actually come to you and say, "Ma'am, I did wrong sometime back. This is what happened, but now this person is trying to do this." But if you're a parent who never creates time to talk to your teenager, they will never come.
They'll never come.
And then you see them at home, you're serving food, they are there, they are not eating, they tell you that they are trying to chop. So it is a lot of work that there is, but also I don't want us to forget the good.
Yeah.
The good of the smartphones. Yeah, because they can do a lot of research. They can actually do career growth. If you want to do something in future, you can follow steps even on YouTube and see how you can actually get to where you want to reach, you know. So we don't want to focus on the wrong and forget the good. Because sometimes when you do that, some parents, now we may finish this show and at home, people bring all the phones. You know, we were listening to this show and bring, I think this is what you're doing. Now let's have open conversations with our children. Tell them the good and the bad. Information is power.
Yeah.
We cannot change an individual, but when we have given them what they need to know, sometimes they sit back and reason. So it's different when you don't give them the information. And therefore, that's why it's important that even when we have provided our children with everything they need, we must still keep checking on them. Now, and then about, again, smartphones. Some children do not sleep. Like they are addicted. The whole time they are on their phones. You meet them in the corridor, they won't even see
you,
that you have passed by because they are addicted. And they even do some games that need money. That one is important.
Yes.
They are paid for, and some children are stealing money.
Yes.
Now you're raising a thief to steal, come and pay for a game to play on the smartphone that you provided. So when we have provided information and taught them, one, if a child has grown up knowing that stealing is bad, even when they ask them, we need this much dollars, can you pay, they'll still listen to that voice.
Yeah.
Stealing is bad. I can do without this. Can we teach our children how to make choices?
Yeah.
Even those that are painful but are good for their lives. So that is very, very important. But about not sleeping, it also comes to managing. If you have provided everything that they want, can you also put rules and regulations?
Oh, yeah.
You are going to do your work, but it ends at this time.
Yes.
Yes.
So if it is 9 o'clock,
Even that good they are doing has to have a time limit. Okay.
So for me, at home, my girls know that after this time at night, all the phones are brought to my bedroom. Put it here.
I love that.
So go and sleep. Because sleep is very important.
Important.
So whether I'm home or I'm not home, even the dads will tell them, oh, have you done what you have to do? Because they know you cannot sleep with your phones in your bedroom. Otherwise, there's a time I had traveled out of the country because of the different time zones.
Yes.
It was 2 and I saw one of them online. I said, hey, what are you doing online? They think they didn't expect that. So sometimes even paying on their neck and saying, hey, I'm here. What are you doing?
What are you
I said,
doing?
hey, man, I have done wrong. So it's important that we don't give up. Again, raising teenagers means that you don't give up on them. Like, even if you have to repeat the same thing every day, please do. At the end of the day, it pays.
Yes.
So much to say. I mean, today is when I've just realized why the scripture, why the scripture says that tell your children the law as you sleep, as you wake up, as you walk with them, as you lie down. As in, it's a constant thing. You're doing it constantly and over and over and over and over and over again. Wow,
That's
thank
so
you.
true.
I needed this.
Hope, it has been mentioned that when there's a break in a relationship between parents and teens, that the thing that can help mend that fence is communication. How can we communicate better with our teenagers?
Okay. That is a good one. Communication becomes full when you are able to listen. You know, when you're communicating with one another, someone must be talking, another one listening. That is the effective communication. So sometimes it's important that we appreciate that as parents, we can actually practice listening, which is rarely done. We always think because we are the parents, we are the talking people, we are the talkers. It is us to talk. Keep quiet, I'm still talking. And you keep doing that, and when you're done talking, you forget that she has not said anything. And for you, you're done, so you walk away. So who is she going to tell the challenges? So it's important that we practice listening as parents and as a skill, because when we listen, we get to understand a lot that we actually didn't know, even about our children. These children, when they go to school, they face a lot of challenges. A lot. From the teachers, from the students, from the cooks, from every angle, and then from the smartphones. So sometimes they need someone who will actually sit with them and say, tell me, what's going on?
Are you okay?
Is everything okay? Me, I make it a point that every time my girls come for holiday, I want to ask them, how was school? Tell me about your teachers, the students, the student leaders, what's going on? So that you get to understand the kind of life they are leading. When you listen to them, you realize that you have a bigger role to play as a parent. Because sometimes we think that being a parent is enough role already. Like, don't add me more work. I am your mother, that's enough work already. So that is one, listening. Two, we need to avoid jumping to conclusions all the time. Sometimes we do that a lot. You see your daughter with somebody and immediately you're like, where did you sleep? What did you do today afternoon? Like immediately for you think they have already had sex, they have finished, she's actually already pregnant, and she has even aborted. Like all that happens so quickly. But remember, you have not listened to this girl. Maybe she's even dating a pastor's kid. Maybe they are reading the Bible. They are reading the Bible. They are learning the verses. But for you, you have drawn all the conclusions and you don't want to listen to what this child has to say. So that also are challenges that we want to do effective communication. We also need to learn to apologize as parents. Sometimes we think that because we are parents, we don't do wrong. We do. So many times we do. And sometimes it is that sorry, this child, that will make them realize that actually, so my mother can also apologize. And it could change her behavior because maybe it is something she did not see coming. So when we do wrong, which we always do sometimes, that we are all human, we can make mistakes. The same way we expect them to apologize, let's also learn to take blame when we are wrong, and then give them a chance to also show us how much they can do. And of course, we also have parents who love moving around, talking about their children.
Oh, wow. You didn't say that on this. You mean like
I don't know if... Go on. Your child has a challenge. They have confided in you, they have told you, and then the next moment they hear an auntie calling them, tell me what happened. and this child will be like, oh, mom did this to me. And they'll hold back.
They won't trust you.
They will hold back. They won't trust you because they will think that you are the person who's moving around sharing their KB with the public, and of course that affects communication because it means now even when they have something very, very serious to tell you, they will think twice and say, this one.
Tell the entire class.
And so you greet them, oh, everything is okay. All is okay. Nothing is wrong. But they have something you want to tell you, but no, my mother won't keep this. So to save her the trouble, let me keep it to myself.
Because hello gambo, I can't say.
And also of course understanding that these children also sometimes need space. Sometimes, especially between 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, what kind of space? What kind of space am I talking about? Because you see, time comes when you think that this is that I talked about it at the beginning. That for us, we look at them as children. Throughout, you're not yet 18. So what are you talking about? But this is a child who also, they have a room that they feel this is my room. But even when they are there, you still remind them that, hello, you don't have to, everywhere they feel they are safe, you are present there, trying to remind them how they are still children and everything. Did you make your beds, look at how this is looking like. So sometimes...
But you said we shouldn't get tired of stuff.
Yes, I said we shouldn't get tired of talking, but also once in a while, give them space and ask them later and say, how is that going? Sometimes when they give you feedback, say, they will ask you if you're okay. Because this whole week you have not come to tell them how their room is not like, Sometimes they want to prove to you that they can do these things without you reminding them all the time. And sometimes when they do, it is good for you to affirm them and say, oh, I passed by your place. It's really, really nice, so that you're not a complaining person. But sometimes when things have gone well, you'll actually come and say, today you did this. And they'll be happy about it. So I think that's what I can say about communication with a teen.
I think one of the things that has helped me with my teenage son, I decided because so imagine me who experienced this loggerhead with my mother, I was still repeating the cycle with my son. Imagine, I've gone through it and now I know better because I lived through it. So I had come telling myself, I will be a better mother. Was I? No. But because it was murky waters again, I decided to really educate myself about what's going on in the brain of a teenage child. And what I found, you guys, changed the way I relate with my son completely. And it's just in one sentence, and I hope that parents out there can think about that whenever they ask themselves, if you find yourself in a position where you're asking your child, why are you doing this, or why are you not doing that, or what's wrong with you, think about this. The part of the brain of a teenage child that drives emotions, which is at the center of the brain, develops and matures much faster than the part of the brain which makes decisions, which regulates the emotions that have already been developed. Now imagine you're there with a brain that is thriving on emotion, but you don't have the capacity to regulate those emotions. That is how the teenage brain works. And this starts, that change, and you see Manuela is great at early child development. Imagine teenage period is advanced child development. Advanced. Now we are in high school. And those changes are so significant. All they need is guidance. Release your children. Trust the process. They are fighting for independence. And they are trying to find their identities. but you're hovering. Release them.
Mother hen.
Trust the process. And that since then, you guys, my relationship with my child, whenever I would pick my child up from anywhere, we would leave where we were to get home, and we are fighting. We are struggling, but now we are engaging, we are communicating. I'm listening to him. He's responding to me. That fight or flight seems to be at bay. Not that it doesn't exist. Like the same way how I have to never give up on my child, I'm also not giving up on myself. I literally have to keep reminding myself, because my son can do better today. Tomorrow, back to zero. And now I find myself like, then I have to remind myself.
So it's an everyday work.
Yeah. No, and it's amazing how, like, in that, what I've learned from this, and again, we've always said that, like, even in science, that, you know, we go through stages. Like 0 to 3 is one stage, 3 to 5 is another, 5 to 8 is another, 8 to 10. You get, but I find that for every stage we celebrate it. We look at what's happening, and then we work towards making it right.
Yes.
But I don't know why, when we reach teenage years, and I'm probably a culprit because I have some preteens there at our home, you still want to instill yourself. You're not respecting that. I'm not respecting that stage that has come for me, and that's one of the things that I've learned today, that I need to respect that. The same way I respected 0 to 3, then I respected 3 to 5, then I respected 5 to 8. So now I'm starting struggling at 8, and it's like I want to assert myself as a parent. I want to show, but now what you're saying is, please respect the stage the same way you respected others. I love it.
I think, and I kind of hear your struggle, that maybe some parents feel like they're running out of time because they know the teenage stage, which they have had. Oh my gosh, it's chaotic, it's coming. I have a little time to pump in more values before this chaotic stage comes and like strengthen the foundation. Or for those who didn't pay attention to the foundation, they're like, I have a very small window to try and instill some values. So I understand the panic, because Micah is 8 now as well, and I'm like, there's so much that I feel like I have not done. I see things that lack of like emotion or understanding to say, let me regulate myself, or let me refer back to like what mom has told me. Someone said yesterday, I was at the Moms Gather event yesterday, and Dr. Eunice Adubango was there, and she mentioned the scripture in the Bible that talks about foolishness being bound in the heart of a child, and how we instruct a child once and then we punish them the next. But they've told you that there is foolishness bound in the heart of your child. Why are you expecting that foolishness has gone with just one instruction, you know? And I guess the question is, just be patient with your child. Don't give up on yourself, but also don't give up on your child. And keep instructing them. They'll always remember.
Anja, I want to close, but I want you to give us your experience in that regard, especially that you have the different genders.
I think before the show we were having a small chat, and I told you what I told Asante a while back. I told her, Asante, I've been a mom for a really long time, but I've never been a mom to a girl child.
A teenage girl.
To a teenage girl child. So I said, my baby, you're going to forgive me if I make some mistakes, but I'm learning on the job. And then she said, Mama, we can do this together.
Oh, that's lovely.
Together.
So with the boys, parenting the boys was much easier, maybe because I'm the mother. So, and when I would speak, they would listen. Usually they with the sons, they challenge their fathers. Whilst with their mothers, they don't want mom to get angry. But now with Asante, she challenges me. She tells me, Mama, if you don't like my room, don't come into it. And very, very politely, because I think she grew up hearing me shout, boys, open the windows in your room. Boys, hoover the carpet in your room. Boys, your room. And with them, also with time, I realized I would say this all the time, and now these days I'd be walking towards the room, then the boys like, Mom, hey, boys! And I'm like, and we would laugh about it, you know, is that how I sound? But with Asante, I've learned so much, because with her, first of all, I'm older. I don't have that energy anymore.
Yeah.
But then because of the relationship with my sons, we talk everything, their wet dreams. I was the one they came to, you know, to tell me. Their first heartbreak, they told me. But they never once told me that, Mom, you can parent slightly better. In fact, before Asante, if somebody asked me, for me, I was the superstar.
Yeah.
And even if you ask my sons, they're like, Mom is fair, Mom is tough, Mom is loving. You get what I mean? But now with Asante, we sit, and I'll say this to parents, before you start parenting your child, stop and look at yourself.
That's true.
Stop and look at yourself, because now we have that phone thing. At 11, we get all our phones and we put them to charge. And the truth is, sometimes I'm burning to send a message on a group that I should have sent earlier, so that tomorrow maybe they've done X, Y, and Z. So like, I'm like getting the phone, I'm like, but Asante, this is work. She's like, Mama, we said. But above all, with Asante, she told me, Mama, listen. And I'll be like, okay, now we go. One day in the middle of the night, my child shouted at me. She said, Mama, stop. I was like, what? Asante, did you say that to me? She's like, Mama, this time I have said stop. Stop.
Yeah.
This and this, this and this, this and this. And there I was, my daughter was laying it out for me.
Yeah.
And in the first 3 minutes, no, 30 seconds, I was like, she's like, no, Mama. Listen. She says, when you do this and this, sometimes I'm afraid to tell you. Like, remember this time? And then now I sit with my children, and those days I'd be like, okay, so how has your day been? What are you doing? Now I see.
Listen, yes.
And it prompts them to speak. And it prompts them, and I'm like,
It works.
And before I thought, it was like, so how's school? So how's work? So how's the course going? How are you getting on with your employees? What does your boss think? Now, my son will come, Ichi, we sit, has his beer, I have my glass of wine, and we just keep quiet. Before you know it, he's like, hey, by the way, Mom, you know, this and this and this. And I'm like, really? And then now I'm more curious than critical.
That's key.
Like, no, I'm like,
What's happening?
Tell me more.
are you serious? And what did you think? And then she's like, you know what, I'll just sit it there. And I was like, if Mom was here, would she think that what I've done is good? And I'm like, and that stopped you? And my son can be like, man, I'm thinking, how do I come home? And I raise my sons with this thing of my boys. We cannot not make it in life. Do you understand me? Because if you don't, I will become the laughing stock of the world. So they grew up with that thing of, we cannot let Mom be
The laughing.
and yet the truth is, it shouldn't be about Mom. It should be of, I wouldn't want to embarrass myself before you think, oh my gosh, I will be embarrassing my parent. And the truth is, when you understand some of these concepts, holidays arrive.
And you're happy.
And
You should see Andrew
You're
and her
looking
children are coming back
forward.
for holiday.
Yeah, tell them.
Do we hear the
them.
last of it?
We can't-
In fact, she
Bumplab
disappears.
becomes a chore. Like, I need to be home with my baby.
because they're so much fun. And you know, the older kids grow you people. You're seated there and they're like, but Mom, you know, you should try this app. And I'm like, do you think it will work for me? Absolutely. They're getting you the tech guys. And I'm like, but I'm the one who used to show you how to write your A. So if you haven't created a good relationship during these years, they carry on thinking, I think Mom has got this. Yet the truth is, there's so much for them to learn. So,
Wow, teenage children. Those who are not there yet, it's coming. It's coming. And I hope you can use the pointers of this show to guide you. And in that, By the way, one of the biggest fears of teenage children is invisibility. All they want in life is to be seen, to be heard, to be understood,
to be spoken to
actually as equals. African parents don't want to hear this.
Maybe we do.
But,
we just take a bit
but to be spoken to at a level of understanding, of collaboration, more than the original leadership and authoritarian.
Yes.
So listen. And in the words of Asante, parents, we can do this together. And you know, the best way you can parent together with your teenage child, sharing your internet data. Let me explain how. For as low as 60K, you get 25 GB, 800 minutes to call Airtel numbers, and 100 minutes to call any other network, all shareable with up to 5 people. Dial star 100 star 6 hash to choose your preferred smart plans package today. Airtel, a reason to imagine. And speaking from experience, by the way, I am on the gold package Airtel smart plan with my son, and you know how teenage children can use data. He's been home the whole holiday, but still my data is still running. Previously I would have to buy for him airtime. I would have to buy for him his own data. Maybe when we leave the house there is no Wi-Fi, but now all the time we are on the same smart plan, and it's been seamless. You never get disconnected, for sure. It's a reason to imagine. So just allow me to say thank you so much, Hope. Thank you so much for educating us. I feel so much calmer even now to go back home to my teenage son. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Until next time, with love from Bump Love.